Okay, so YouTube player. So we might as well use this scene because I do also have a YouTube player set up here. Yeah, let me just enable that so everything is here. All right, so YouTube player. There are multiple ways of doing it. I personally like to use render texture. So what that does is it's basically using a camera pointing at a screen, which is being added by A-frame or JavaScripts or HTML. It would be in your index. So if I go here, index. Oh, I actually, yeah, I have a different setup in this world, but that's okay. I can just put stuff in the index for demo. Yeah, so for example, like this, this is your most basic index, but I'll be adding some code to it, which you know what, I will use Kalima's world as an example. Maybe I can zoom in so you guys can see better. Let's see. Yep, hope that helps. All right, so this is Kalima's karaoke world. Currently, she has an A scene, which is important if you do want to add the YouTube player. So she's using 5Rats version of the karaoke player right now. Um, and we will be using the regular player instead in this instance. So I can copy your script from here and add it to my index over here. And I do need to make sure that there is a scene in here. So close that after. Yeah, so in order for a YouTube player to show up in your world, you do want to make sure that you have this a scene tag after the head, and the video player script is contained within the a scene. So as you can see right now, we do have the position set to -5, which is how I usually like to put the render texture camera. I probably have one here already in a different spot. So let's see. This one. Yeah, so YouTube play position. Yeah, I do have a prefab of of this which I can share in the Space Makers channel as well, which is basically this one here, the video player position prefab. Um, but if you don't have a prefab, you could also very easily make one yourself. So basically all it is a camera. I'll just do that together. How's that? So I'll make a camera and I will position it to 0, -5, 0, and just keep the rotation all at 0. Yeah, so you can see my camera's right here. But this is more like a regular perspective camera. In order for it to work better with a video screen, or like a video player, you could change it to orthographic. So then it's basically just like a flat. It's basically flat. The difference between orthographic and perspective is basically flat and like 3D view. So this is perspective. If you click this little center thing here in your gizmo, this is perspective. This is orthographic view. So everything is flat. And I would make the camera the same. for our YouTube player. And so we have that. And also, you could change stuff like it won't be showing all the other stuff. So you could have your scrolling masks. You could basically turn off everything except yeah, it would be in the default layer. So you want to set it to default. So it's only going to be picking up the video player itself. And really depending on where you put it, sometimes like you could have a screen there and people could like walk into it and whatnot. And by just having the scrolling mask to default, it's gonna be ignoring all the other stuff. So like if you have a network player, which is you guys for me, you it won't show up in that camera. And also like if you have the Ready Player Me head, body, or like your physics player, which is yourself, none of those things would show up in the camera because we have set the crawling mask. All right, so back to here. Yeah, so the size, I did set it to 0.28. And graphic, yeah, and also if you want, you could set the background to black. So the clipping planes, that's also important. So you could set it so then it only shows stuff that are very close to it. So I know that the video player is gonna be exactly where I put the camera is. So I would just make the near extremely close. So 0.01 for near. And then for far, it doesn't have to go too far because your screen is there anyway. So even if you do 0.1, as long as you position stuff properly, it should be fine already. So I will just do 0.1. So now when you look at it, this is basically the camera. So whatever that is gonna be inside this little box, yeah, this frame here, it would show up in your camera, as long as they're in default layer. And let's see anything else. Yep, that's pretty much it. And then we do need to set a render texture that you want the camera to project to. So with my previous setup, I already made a render texture. If you don't have one yet, you could always just go into here, create, and you wanna go into and is it rendering?
Yeah, rendering, render
Okay. Oh yeah,
texture.
it is under rendering. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they have changed the menu a little bit
yeah, they
from the
moved
old
everything.
yeah. So okay, so it's under rendering and then render texture. Okay. So you could just name this video player. And with this render texture, you would also want to set your resolution. So I always just go with 1080p. So 1920 is it by 1080. And also, in order for it to have a little bit nicer color, because sometimes you might see some artifacts. If there's like a fading color, you might see like the lines like between the colors. So I would change this to, oops, I would change the color format to either 16 or 32. 16 should be good enough. So you could just do this. Let me check what my old one is. Okay, yeah, I also had it set to 16. Okay. Yeah, so I basically changed the color format from 8 to 16, so you would actually get a nicer color on the screen. And I think that's pretty much it. So you do want to make sure that you drag that render texture that you just made into the target texture. So now we have this camera for the render texture. So in order to make sure that it's actually projecting that camera view onto a material, we do need to create a render texture material for that render texture. So let's create one now. We're gonna go into create, and then yes, yeah, rendering material, and I'll just call this video player as well. And in this material, what I usually just do, I pick a unlit shader and just do texture. So then it's always going to be bright. And I will just drag that render texture we just created into into that material. So as you can see now, the camera is basically just looking out in the sky right now. So you actually see the sky and the material right now. So I will let's just use this screen as an example. I wanted the video player to display on here. So what I would do, I would just take that new material we just created, put it right in here. And as you can see, it's already picking up the skybox view. If you don't want that, it doesn't really matter because it will be covered up with a YouTube player anyways. Um, but with that camera, we could, I think, yeah. So here, clear flags. We could also set it to solid color. Yeah, there we go. So now it's only showing the black. But in order to see if our YouTube player would actually show up properly, let's look at our index. So right now we're positioning the karaoke player at -5, 0, -5, which is exactly where my camera is. No rotation. I could change this to the instead of karaoke, I'll change this to playlist. So what that is gonna be using the regular YouTube player instead of the karaoke player. So the rest, just want to make sure. Okay, volume 20 to begin with. Uh, yeah, okay, yeah, it has all these like trigger stuff for the karaoke, which are unnecessary here right now. Yeah, so I'll just remove those things. Uh, the singer button we don't need. Yeah, so you have spatial already set to false, which is good. So it basically you're having no spatial. So anywhere in the world, you could hear the video player at its max, basically. Because if you have spatial turned on, you could also determine like how far the audio travels. So if you wanted to be only like around the video player that you could hear it, then yeah, you could do stuff like that. But I'm not gonna go into too much details for now. And yeah, so we have this in our index already. And if I hit play, it should actually load up the objects of the video player. The video player won't actually work in play mode, but you should see like a white screen in the scene. And I do have some really loud ambient noise in here. Let me turn those off. All right, so yeah, so as you can see, our render texture screen is actually showing up white, so that is actually working correctly. So as you can see here, we're in play mode. It instantiated that video player object, so we know it is actually in the correct spot. And if we checked our camera object, the latest one, yep, it's right in the same spot. The scale could be a little bit different in the preview because it always looks so big. And as you can see, our camera lines, I don't know if you could see it properly, it's like way smaller than it. But don't worry, it should actually be fine because it's just the temporary stuff that is like a lot bigger than what it's supposed to. Um, yeah, so that's basically how you would set up a render texture for your world. And if I do want that same thing to be a same video player to project on other stuff like the other screen, I just basically have to add it to all my screens. Yep. And also like I have like all these ceiling beams as well that is using the video player's render as like effects, so I also put those in there. And yeah, that's basically how you would yeah, put in a video player.
Thank you.
Does
Thank
that,
you.
yeah, does that help, Kalima?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
answers, I think,
that
every
answers, I
question I
think,
had.
every question I had.
Okay.
Thank you.
um yeah, no worries. So in order, as you mentioned about the playlist, right? So if you look back into your script here, at the end, as you can see, there's this playlist, whatever playlist string that there is. So what I would do is just like go to YouTube, and I can just look for, I don't know, let's say I wanted a, okay, well, here, there we, oh, well, this is like a live video, so I can use that. Let's do a Christmas playlist. Christmas, I just search for Christmas, and I would filter it by playlists. Or you could make your own playlist. So if you do want to make your own playlist, you could just always like go into your playlist tab, and you could like create. No, sorry. You don't actually create playlist this way. Do apologize. So you create playlist by going to a video first. So let's say I want to add this song. Yep. And I will just go into save, new playlist, and then just say test six. And you do want to make sure that you are set to either unlisted or public. So public, it will show up in your YouTube profile. You could do unlisted. You could create, and I do notice there's a bug with the Vidya player, where if you have it set to collaborate, it wouldn't load the playlist properly. I'm not sure if in Firerat's version, maybe he has done something to fix that, but I'm not 100% sure. So you could try using Collaborate if you want. If you want to have a shared playlist that people could add stuff to in the background, you could try it. If it doesn't work, then just make sure it's not on.
Okay.
Okay, so now we created a new playlist. And let's say I wanted to add a few more songs. here. Add save again. Add that to the test playlist as well. And let's add one more. So now we have this playlist with the 3 songs. Playlist. And recently added. Yep. So playlist. So now we made a playlist with the 3 songs. All you have to do is copy the playlist ID and paste that into your script, and that's it. And now you save. And now if we're actually running it in Banter, by default, when you go into a world, that new playlist should play. If it doesn't, you might have to clear the playlist first within Banter, and then we join the world, and the new playlist should be loaded.
Right.
All right.
Right.
So hope that
Thank you.
helps. Yeah, as they're doing many updates, I know there's a new Banter browser that's gonna be implemented soon, so we might not even need to be doing it this way. Eventually, like with the index and all that, you might be able to just have a browser object, drag it into your scene, and then use the player that way. But those things aren't really available yet, so I won't go too much into details. But currently, this is the best way of handling the YouTube player if you want it to be projected in multiple screens. All right.
Right. And if you have any input into people who are building the new input and everything, I would love the roll off to be part of the user controls rather than having to be built into the index file.
Okay. Yeah. So once if the new browsers is out, I would imagine there would be an object where it would have like the actual like audio source and whatnot. Uh, yeah, it
Well, as
would
far as
probably
I mean,
have
local
like.
control,
Mhm.
like on the control, so the user
Oh,
in world can walk up and say, okay, I want this to fall off at a distance of 5, or I want to hear it everywhere, so I want the fall off to be a distance of 20. Um, that kind of
yeah.
control
Okay.
in world to the individual user to have that locally is
Oh,
really
okay.
nice.
Y- Yeah, like right in the game. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if
Hmm.
they have features like that. I know Shane mentioned there would be like volume controls and stuff like that, so you could at least turn up and turn down or mute the volume yourself
Hmm.
locally. But the roll off like distance and all that, I'm not sure if you could like change it like on the fly in the world unless you made a interface for that. But at least people would be able to change the volume locally
Hmm.
themselves easily
Good.
once that new browser is out. Yeah, that's in part of the features that's
Good.
gonna be in it. So. And yeah, I'll be sharing a prefab as well. So in case, so this is actually one of the older ones. So I'll send a most updated one of a video player position prefab for you guys in the Space Makers channel. So if you just wanted something quick and easy, drag and drop, instead of having you to like do all the setup that I just did right now with the camera, you could basically just drag and drop it and have it set to the correct point that aligns with your HTML. Then yeah, so it's easier for you guys.